What if I told you there's an entire nation where people don't just save money, they master it, saving nearly half of everything they earn? Sounds impossible, right? Because most of us are fighting just to save 5%. But what you're about to discover might completely change how you see money forever. Here's a number that should stop you in your tracks. For every $100 earned, the average household in China saves $36. Now compare that to the US, where saving even $3 to $5 is considered a win. That's not just a difference. That's a completely different mindset. And it gets even crazier. For over 70 years, China's savings rate has hovered around 40 to 50%. Think about that. Half of everything they earn, saved. No magic. No lottery wins. No crypto luck. Just disciplined strategy. And a radically different way of thinking. Let me introduce you to something that might sound extreme at first. It's called the 10:1 rule. The idea is simple but powerful. For every $10 you earn, you try to live on just one. Yes, that means aiming to save 90% of your income. Now before you panic, this isn't about actually hitting 90%. It's about aiming so high that even if you fall short, you still win big. Because if you land at 50%, you're already miles ahead of almost everyone else. This isn't about being cheap. It's about changing your relationship with money. When you expect to live on less, suddenly, every purchase starts to feel different. That daily $5 coffee is no longer just coffee. It's half your daily spending limit. And that shift changes everything. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Chinese families follow something called zero-based budgeting, which means, before the month even begins, every single dollar already has a job. Not later. Not whatever's left. Before you spend anything. And here's the twist most people miss. They save first, not last. Savings isn't optional. It's treated like a bill you must pay. So instead of saying, I'll save what's left after spending, they say, I'll spend what's left after saving. That one shift alone can transform your financial life. Because now your lifestyle adapts to your goals, instead of your goals being crushed by your lifestyle. And then there's something we don't talk about enough. The brutal honesty between needs and wants. In a world constantly telling you to upgrade, to buy more, to treat yourself, Chinese culture asks a simple question. Do you actually need this? Not what ads tell you, not what influencers show you, but what you truly need. A phone that works? That's a need. A $1,200 upgrade with a slightly better camera? That's a want. And when you start seeing money through that lens, you stop wasting it. Now let's talk about something most people avoid. Debt. In many Western countries, debt is normal. Credit cards, car loans, buy now, pay later. But in China, debt is often seen as something to avoid. Because if you can't afford it in cash, you probably shouldn't buy it. Simple and powerful. Because debt doesn't just cost money. It steals your future income. Every monthly payment is a reminder that your past decisions are controlling your present. But when you eliminate debt, you free up space. Space to save. Space to breathe. Space to grow. Now here's one of the most fascinating parts. Chinese families treat education like an investment, not an expense. They believe that money spent on learning will multiply itself for decades. And honestly, they're not wrong. Imagine spending $100,000 on education that increases earning potential by $50,000 every year. That's not spending. That's a return most investors would dream of. And that's why families are willing to sacrifice today for a much bigger tomorrow. But what really ties all of this together is psychology. Because at the core of it all, Chinese culture doesn't see saving as painful. They see it as power. They see it as security, as freedom, as peace of mind. While many people feel restricted by saving, they feel protected by it. And that emotional difference, that's everything. They also eliminate something that silently drains your energy, decision fatigue. Instead of constantly deciding what to buy, they simplify. Same stores, same routines, same habits, less thinking, less temptation, more consistency. Because success isn't built on motivation, it's built on systems. And here's something that might surprise you. In their culture, being good with money earns respect. Not flashy spending, not luxury cars, not designer brands, but discipline. Imagine living in a world where people admire you for saving money, not spending it. That kind of environment makes smart decisions easier. And maybe the most powerful habit of all, financial transparency within the family. Everyone knows the plan. Everyone knows the numbers. Everyone works together. So saving isn't a burden. It becomes a shared mission, team effort. And that unity turns small habits into massive results. Now here's the truth. You don't need to move to another country to apply this. You don't need to save 50% overnight. You just need to start. Track your money for 1 month. Be honest about where it's going. Increase your savings slowly. 5% to 10%. 10% to 15%. And keep going. Because this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. At the end of the day, financial freedom isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and how wisely you use it. And maybe, just maybe, the difference between struggling and thriving isn't your income, it's your habits. So if this changed the way you see money even a little, hit that like button so more people can discover this. Drop a comment telling me, what's one habit you're going to start today? And if you're ready to take control of your money instead of letting it control you, go ahead and subscribe, because your future self is already counting on you.